Oh, how are you?
I'm good.
Let me get chairs for us to sit outside here.
You don't want me to come in?
You want to come inside?
Yes.
You?
Don't worry, I'll keep my brother.
Hello and welcome once again to your favorite program, Hot Button, a program with a focus on young people and relationship. You know, in every relationship, be it friendship, be it family, be it platonic, one common factor that you find in it that defines if someone truly cares or if someone is truly a friend is visiting. You visit this person, you visit that person to show how much we really value our relationship. Today on the program, we'll be looking at visiting when in a relationship. My name is Johnny ODEH, and with me in the studio I have
Josaphine EGWAKHE.
and
OKECHI Jahliftedmeup.
welcome once again to the program. It's always a pleasure to have you. Now we are looking at visiting the opposite sex when in a relationship. What is your take on that?
It is very important to visit, okay? A lot of things we'll not get to know when we have phone conversations, social meetings, that is going on several dates, okay, which will probably take place in open space, okay? But it's also required that you visit to know where this person stays, other than the person telling you, to know how this individual does their things. So it is very important to visit while in a relationship.
Okay, so why should we visit when in a relationship?
It is quite necessary to visit, but there are circumstances that may occur if you engage in visitation. I am not of the opinion that you should not visit, but what are you going to do? That's the question. What are you going to do in visitation that you cannot do outside? If you are checking how that person lives, if you are checking, in fact, trust should be one of the premises that guides dating, of which you should trust that person once he told you that I am good looking, I'm neat, I keep my environment clean. So I think there are many dangers that can accompany visitation. I am not saying, let me repeat again, that one should not visit, but there are many dangers that are associated with visiting the person of the opposite sex. If one might visit, I would also advise that if we are going to visit somebody of the opposite sex, let us go with a third party. Somebody.
Go with a third party. Do you agree with that?
I don't totally agree with that.
Okay.
Because you're coming from the aspect of trust. If I trust this individual to do this, I don't need a third party to go. All I need to do is involve a third party, telling someone this is where I am going to know my whereabouts. But going with someone, I feel it is, number one, you have breached trust. Because if I trust this individual to be able to do this and not do that, then I should solely trust you and go. All I have to do is I know why I'm going there, what I am going to do there. So I feel going with a third party, it's out of it.
So if you're looking at it like, if I have to trust this person enough not to go with a third party, isn't there likely to be risk involved in that?
Talking about the trust is something that grows, okay? But you know, there are conversations that you probably have with this person that will make you to be like, okay, I trust you. See, there's one thing with going with a third party, meaning you yourself do not trust yourself. Because if you trust yourself to know, okay, this is where I draw the line. Whatever this person is coming to do, I already know this is my stand on this. So we are not doing, you have to spell this out at the beginning. If you have had all these things talked about, we'll not have this discussion to me, because this is me talking to the next person. Okay, so I know, yes, we cannot fully trust because this person is human. I am human. But there's a level of trust that can bring for you to even start thinking of visitation, because I can't just visit a stranger.
Okay, now I'm sure you had your reasons for saying you have to go with a third party.
When you are talking about trust, trust does not eradicate feelings. Okay. Let's point that. Trust does not eradicate the presence of feelings. There must be this urge when you behold somebody of the opposite sex, unless you are not a normal human being, of which there is a high propensity, if time is not being taken, for you to engage or indulge in that urge that has come up onto you. I don't know whether you get what I'm saying.
I do.
Now, see, Bible said that we should flee from all vices of immorality, of which visiting the opposite sex, I would say, in my own opinion, is included. Because when you are visiting somebody of the opposite sex, there is this high tendency that even if people have spelled it out, you have said, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm not going to do, there must be this atom of feeling that even if I did not start it, she will start it. Okay, let me ask, for how long are you going to be visiting?
That should have been my next question, but you have asked it, so let's go with it.
So how long are you going to be visiting?
Okay.
What if it is a relationship that is going to exist between 1 year and 2 years? So you'll be visiting, of which there is this high tendency that rules might probably be broken. Rules might probably be broken. There's one person that, he's a songwriter, he says, love changes everything. All the rules we make are broken. You see, if we don't take cognizance, if we don't take, precautions of this, and we go into visiting somebody of the opposite sex, there is this high tendency that you might become victim of sexual intercourse. Let me be explicit about it.
Okay. Well, would you rather rely on what he's saying, like there are chances of rules beginning to break and then people beginning to feel relaxed, and then things you see as, okay, I have to avoid this, no longer avoiding it. Do you think that is something to go with?
Talking about relaxation, relaxation comes as a result of you being used to this individual. You are not relaxed with a stranger. I am relaxed with a friend. I'm relaxed with a companion. I'm relaxed with someone who I know if he says this, then he can do this. See, you being scared of something will not make you not want to do it. What I am saying is, you don't want to go visit because of the dangers involved. Then are we going to eradicate visiting because of the dangers? Because I feel if these dangers are things that can be controlled. So if something can be controlled, which are sometimes the modifiable factors, then we can use the non-modifiable to modify the modifiable factors. So I feel these are things that you can avoid. And in avoiding all these things, do not just start from a day. You have to work on yourself. Remember, relationship is for the matured mind. People who have known the dangers associated with these things, who have worked out from the scriptures background, scripture standards for Christian dating and relationship. So when you have known all these things, visitation will not be a problem. Because when you are visiting, what you do matters. So you're not scared of, oh, this person may want to be sexually aroused. Yes, the person may. But then it depends on how we take it. You don't have to be embarrassed when the individual starts showing up, because that person has emotions. Okay, so we have to be mature to learn to know how to undo such emotions when they come up. Okay,
well, this leaves me with a question. I'm going to share the question between both of you now to see how we can drive at this point. Now, having stated all this, what would you say are the benefits of visitation?
You know, talking about the benefits of visitation, number one, you get to know a lot of things you don't know. Okay. It's more of talking over the phone. Okay. But now this is reality. Okay. Because are you going to live with this person over the phone all your years? A time will come, you still have to go visit, whether we like it or not. Their parents will even tell their children, go and visit. You visit, you come back. So there are benefits associated with visiting. You get to know this person other than the phone conversations, the social meetings, but you get to know how this person lives. There are people who have obsession, though the obsession can be controlled. This is how they want their things arranged. You see it, you know. There are people that get to learn more with what they see other than what you tell them. Visual learners. So when they get to see these things through visitation, then they get to know, they get to understand better other than you telling them. So there are a lot of benefits associated with visiting. So we will not therefore rule the benefits because of the dangers involved.
We should not substitute the benefit of visiting because of the danger. Now, are there imminent dangers to visiting
Yes,
the opposite sex?
before I dive into dangers, there is something very important I want us to pinpoint. You know, you see, you can learn. That is quite good. That is quite understandable. You can learn, but you can learn with another person going for visitation. I am not saying that visitation should be eradicated entirely. What I am driving at is we should visit with a trusted friend. Mind you, not a friend that would go and become the champion of the listen. So we should go for visitation with a friend. Why? To avoid unnecessary indulgence into what we may not like or what we may regret. Now, there are dangers. There are dangers. You know, what if you are just visiting this person for the first time? Maybe that person has been pretensively, you know, talking to you, of which you can rely on that person. Remember, she said that, you know, trust is not being built on one day. Trust can be eradicated within a second. Now we are visiting this person for the first time. What if that person might eventually rape the lady?
So the risk of raping?
Yes, the risk of rape. There are many stories. There are many stories that we've heard today that is associated with visiting the person of the opposite sex for the first time, and it ends up with the news of rape, of which might lead to an unwanted pregnancy. How will you bear the shame? And you know that you cannot eradicate the psychological trauma easily. So for us to, you know, curtail this, the dangers of visitation, we have to, you know, take cognizance of how we visit, of which I am the opinion that we visit with somebody or don't visit.
Okay.
See, there is another thing. What if, you know, you visit somebody of the opposite sex and eventually rain began to, you know, blast, of which might last for a very long time. You know, there are some even, you know, all the rains we have nowadays, there are some that will even be raining from morning till the next morning. What will you do? You are going to sleep with that person, of which there is this high tendency that something can happen.
Wow. All right. I will let you guys hold your thoughts there. We have been talking about visitation while in a relationship. Should you do that? If you're doing that, how long should you be doing that? Is it okay to keep doing that? These and more, you will be hearing some sides and people's diverse opinions to all these things that we have mentioned. We hope you are listening carefully to pick things that will be beneficial to you, and not just to you, but for someone out there that you can reach out to know how to go about doing the right thing. Now we are looking at the risk involved in visitations and all that. Now, you're talking about a situation where unforeseen circumstances happen. How do you guide yourself in that case? I don't know, you were about to finish your thought when I came in.
Yeah, actually, you know, I am not totally, you know, saying that visitation is not good. But if at all you would engage in visitation, there are specifications of things that you have to engage yourself into, of which will be regarded as healthy visitation or healthy staying. I still maintain my stand.
Okay.
Visit with a third party. Go with someone. Because there is this adage among my people, Igbo tribe, that says, which means when somebody is walking alone, there is this tendency that death might occur. The implication of this is that when you are walking with somebody, the tendency of temptation that will come to your way will be low, because you have somebody that is looking at you, of which you will not, you know, you will not have this urge to fall into that temptation. That is the analogy of that adage. Now, when you go, you visit with somebody because of the unforeseen circumstances that might actually occur.
Now, do you think that visiting with somebody is a problem when you have a third party accompanying a particular person? Like maybe I'm going to see my girlfriend and then I have a company with myself going, or someone out there, like you're visiting your boyfriend and then you have a third party company. Is there a problem with that?
Going with a third party is not a problem, okay? Because if you're
not averse to that.
If you're going with a third party, are you going to go with the third party on several occasions you'll be visiting? Like I'm going today, I go with a third party. I'm going tomorrow, I go with a third party. I'm going next tomorrow, I'm going to a third. So I just feel going with a third party, maybe you're just taking the person to see your partner for the first time.
Excuse me, you are visiting every day. You go today with a third party, you go to... Why will you be consistently visiting somebody every day, like 7 days in a week?
I am not talking about
it may not be consistently
I'm talking about you saying going with a third party. Are we definitely now going to be going with a third party each time we're going? I don't agree with that, okay? And this is because, you see, this is visitation. If you are going there, what are you going to do? If I'm going with the third party, where will the third party stay when probably we're having a conversation?
See,
this conversation should be between me and my supposed partner. We may want to discuss things that are intimate about this relationship and me bringing a third party to a visit. Now I'm bringing a third party. For instance, this is the main room. The third party will stay there. What goes here, the third party is not even aware. The third party, that so-called third party that came with me. So I just feel going with a third party is not the problem. Okay. But I feel you yourself have trust issues.
Well,
going with a third party.
If I look at this thing from my point of view, we're all basically looking at the same thing. Okay? Because at the end of the day, it's your spiritual discipline that guides you. It is your moral standing based on the biblical knowledge you've gathered over time that will guide you. If you are principled, you are disciplined, you are morally upright in the words of God, I believe you can take a stand. Whether you go with a third party or not, you shouldn't even be worried that a third party will communicate a different message to whoever you're visiting. Whether you visit alone without a third party, because you know your standing, it shouldn't even communicate otherwise. And then if you are morally grounded that, hey, I have a pure mind, and then over time you have known your partner with a pure mind, and then you visit, I think the moral standards you've learned over time should be your guiding principle. Exactly. We can do all that we need to do to avert falling into temptation. But at the end of it all, it is God who protects us. But that doesn't mean we must not do what we need to do. We must do the right things. We must set the right standards, especially from the beginning, so we don't put ourselves in harm's way. On the other hand, we do not communicate wrong information to the next person. Having said that, I want to ask, when we visit the opposite sex, what activities should we be engaged in? I would like to take that from you.
Number one, you should know what you're going to do before leaving wherever you are staying.
Okay.
Coming from the man or the lady. Because if you're leaving to do something, then you should have something in the back of your mind to do. Okay. Then when you get there, you execute what you came to do and leave. Okay. Now going there, what to do?
What activities would you engage in?
There are times you want to have a conversation. Okay. And there are times you want to probably cook together. Okay. And there are times you want to play games together. Okay. So these are things that you can even help with one thing or the other around the house, which I don't find it's right. Okay. If you want to do in terms of maybe housekeeping, clean, which you both will do together.
General house chores.
It's general house chores. You both will just come help and do. So these are things that I think one should engage in when we go for visiting.
Okay, what do you think? What are your own opinions on that?
All right, I still insist actually that you visit with someone. In fact, if I may ask, what are you discussing that you don't want another person to hear? It's a question. What are you discussing that you don't want the other person to hear?
Of course. Tell me about the activities that should go on when you visit.
Okay. The activities that should go on when you visit. Yes, I have a friend of mine that he said whenever someone of the opposite sex visits, that they should engage in healthy play. Like, if you are interested in football, you guys watch football together. If there is no other thing to discuss, you watch football together, of which there will be no that vibe to do what shouldn't be done, because an idle mind is a devil's workshop.
Okay.
You understand? So you have to engage in something that would make you to be practical, not staying idle. You understand? And other things too, that it is not out of point to pray together too when you're staying. It is not out of point to pray together.
Okay, if I gather correctly, what you're saying is when you make this visit, involve yourselves in activities that will not make room for any form of immorality. Yeah, which to me is a good one. In as much as you go around doing the chores at home for whoever you're visiting, do not expose yourself to the risk of putting ideas into the person's head. Your outlook, how you're dressed, the way you carry yourself, yes, and then of course, do not watch romantic movies together. You could engage yourself in lively activities, healthy discussions, discuss business if you need to, discuss health, discuss education, discuss things that will build both persons, you understand? Discuss the future, but of course, do not discuss things that will begin to arouse unhealthy emotions. And with that, you'll be able to put it together. Visitation is not a bad thing. And I'm glad you're saying it's not like you're against it completely, but you're just against the activities that happen during visitations. And when we go, we do the right things, there is even no fear whatsoever that would come to us if we are visiting the opposite sex. So this brings me to the question. If you are paying a visit to the opposite sex, if you are paying a visit to the opposite sex, is it advisable for you to stay over till the next day? Or it is advisable you make the visitation very brief so that you don't stay so long to start giving room for certain things?
I feel, yes, you should. You can. Okay? Unforeseen circumstances. You may choose to go and come back. But if something you did not plan for happens, probably the weather or something.
Like he said.
Like he said, you may have to stay the next day or stay till the next morning. So, yes, you can, but I feel from the beginning, you should know I am going there to return as soon as possible. Okay, so being brief, I feel you're acting like something is chasing you. Just make a visit, 30 minutes, you're done, you're going.
You're being apprehensive.
Yeah, you're not, to me, I feel this thing has to do with your inner self. Are you settled with me? Am I settled with myself? Do I know myself? If you know yourself, you know the next person. It is me. I need to talk to myself to know that I am going and I'm coming back this same day. But there are cases where you might have to sleep over. But if those cases comes, then you should be ready to handle it.
And by being ready, you mean?
Being ready to handle it, you must have settled with that fact that I am sleeping over.
And then you hold your standards still.
And then you still hold, yeah, you sure definitely will.
Okay, now, what would you say to that?
Actually, I would gladly say that it is not ideal to sleep over if you visit someone of the opposite sex because of some things that may actually occur. What are you sleeping over for? Before we visit, with a third party, before we visit, let us make sure that we have prioritized our intent of visitation, of which, if being exhausted, you have to leave that environment immediately.
Okay.
Not sleeping over. Well, when she was saying, rain and all the rest, yes, but if you have a third party that went to that place with you, and you people might eventually sleep over, you will see that the fear of engaging in some, atrocities can be dwindled. It will not be there. You understand? If you go with a third party. Now, apart from that, Apart from that, I did not see any reason why somebody would go and sleep over.
So the visitation should be brief.
Brief. You are not married to that individual for crying out loud.
All right, so before we go, what would you say to a young person out there? What would you speak to this young brother, this young sister who is listening to us right now about visiting when in a relationship?
Okay, visitation is not totally wrong. It's not bad, but your intentions should be known. And this will only be known only if at the beginning you must have set standards for each other. You have known this person and you should know that whatsoever happens, these standards should still be. So I think that as much as you go visiting, make it brief, make it short, and you should not lower your standards for anything.
Thank you very much. All right.
My candid advice to my people over there is, if at all there is the need for visitation, you go with a third party, of which the intent or the volume of doing something nasty will be reduced if you go with somebody of the third party. And also, if at all you get to your destination, let us be mindful of what we do there, because there is this high propensity that we might engage in something that is not good. So let us, as she has said, prioritize our intents of visitation and abide on it. And when we have exhausted our agenda for visitation, we will have to leave immediately.
All right, thank you very much. It's such a pleasure to have both of you here today. You've heard it all, my dear brother, my dear sister. When you're visiting, make it brief. When you're visiting, make sure you rely and hold on to that principle that you have learned over time. Do not lose guard and do not engage in activities that will expose you to certain things that you may not want to happen. So be principled, be godly, and always remember who you are. You must not lose yourself because you are in a relationship. And I pray that God will help us all as young people to uphold this principle, this moral standard that we've learned over time from the Bible, so that we do not put ourselves in harm's way. Thank you so much for being a part of the program. Until we come your way again, do stay safe and do the right things in your relationship. Bye for now.